So I guess we're doing a Project Hail Mary movie discussion as well.
Yeah, I think so. We went and saw it. We both read the book. We both went and saw it. I think it's great. Yeah, let's do it. Why not?
I think it was great too. And we did this with Ready Player One. We did a double episode because we read the book and then a while later the movie came out. And we did one on the movie, but I think this is much more important as a book and a movie than Ready Player One. So I have stuff I'd like to talk to you about with it. We didn't see it together, but if we do this episode, then it's like we saw it together, right?
Yeah. I went and watched it with my dad, just me and Dad in the theater. It was great. I mean, there were other people in the theater, but me and Dad went, got some popcorn, sat down, watched it. It was fun.
That's your dad's cup of tea. Was part of the fun that it's kind of in his wheelhouse?
Absolutely. Dad loves science fiction, and he really enjoyed it. He read the book years ago, and so he just went straight on memory, and he remembered a lot about the book. Pretty impressive. But we enjoyed it, really enjoyed it. So I would like to talk to you about it. That's why I want to upload the podcast about this. Whether we upload the podcast or not, I want to have the conversation with you.
Yeah, I do too. In anticipation of this conversation, I ran outside to fill up my little water cup because I've been having a cough,
Yeah.
And I filled it from the sprinkler. And this tastes like I'm 9 years old. It tastes like rubber.
Oh, yeah, the vinyl garden hose.
It's kind of a refreshing throwback.
I got a buddy named Alan. He said, "You know what we need to do, man? We need to bottle up garden hose water and just sell it with a vinyl. The more vinyl taste we can get in it, the better. People would love it."
I think it kills people probably if you do it too much, but people would love it.
Yeah, microplastics. That'd be great.
All right, let's start with the $1 billion question. This is the one I've been wrestling with, and I don't know the answer to it yet. It's the one everybody asks. Which did you like better, the movie or the book?
The book.
Why?
I did like the book. It unpacked the science better, in my estimation. I got to understand why certain things happened. It put me in his head more. It put me in Grace Ryland's head more, and I got to understand, or Ryland Grace. I got to understand why he was thinking certain things, the emotions, and I got to see his logic and where he screws stuff up. But I think the movie was great. Don't get me wrong. But I remember thinking, as I was sitting in the theater, if I didn't understand this from the book, I wouldn't understand this part of the video. Or the movie. Like, for example, when he's going back, it was spoilers. Everything's a spoiler here, right?
Yeah.
So when he's going back to find Rocky and he uses basically it's not echolocation, it's light location. He basically uses light as radar, and he turns around and he fires the drive with astrophage, and he creates a light beacon, and then he turns around with the Petrovoscope to look and see the ping off of Rocky. That was a very interesting thing that they did in the book. He had to scan a sector and he had to find it. And the logic that he used to do that, and it made I'm going to go back and find Rocky way more of a heavy decision.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, I might not find it. Yeah, it could not work. But in the movie, it's just like, I can either go home or go find Rocky. It's 1 or 0. It's
either will work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, whereas in the movie, home is guaranteed, or as guaranteed as anything can be in space. But if you pick Rocky, you're not only forfeiting home, but it might not even work.
You said that backwards. You said in the movie, but you meant in the book.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes, in the book. Forgive me. Whereas in the movie, look, I would have been bored out of my mind if at that point in the film, pacing wise, if it had been like, all right, let's talk about the science of how we're going to scan this, and let's get the audience to feel the pacing of how hard this is. There was no good way to handle that in the movie, that particular sequence. But it really did just feel as simple as, well, I'll just flip a U-turn and go catch him. And here in 2 minutes of screen time, we're back together. Whereas the reunion felt really powerful in the book.
Also, I didn't appreciate astrophage or xenonite in the movie for what they were. From an engineering amaze perspective, amaze.
I knew what you were doing.
From that perspective, I just did not appreciate those two materials in the movie like I did in the book. Because astrophage is amazing.
Xenonite is
so is xenonite. Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. I thought they did a great. Well, how do you want to organize this? Because I know story is important to you, but
dude, organize. I mean, we can go straight through. That might work a little better, but we already covered the story, man. We already did an episode on that. Let's just game it out as we game it out.
Just have fun.
Yeah, dude, just tell me what you think. I mean, the question we have on the table is, did you like the book better or the movie better? And you're saying pretty decisively you liked the book better.
Yeah. What did Strat look like in your mental image in the book? What was
exactly like she looked in the film?
No way.
She looked Dutch or Belgian to me. She looked not pretty, not ugly. I knew that she would just be utterly practical. I pictured a practical looking person who is not, you just don't think of them in terms of attractiveness or not. Competence is what they do. They make practical decisions. They will present themselves in a way that is acceptable to earn the trust of the people they need to trust them to accomplish the mission and nothing more.
So in my mental image in the book, Strat looked a lot like, in The Incredibles, what is the name of the lady that builds all the stuff?
Oh my goodness. Oh, Irma, it's something like that.
Dadgummit.
You're talking about that tiny little girl with the page boy haircut, and
she's not a girl. She's not a girl. She's a woman.
Okay, lady. Sorry, that was hurtful. I said a hurtful thing. I regret it.
Edna. No, it's not Edna. Yeah, it's Edna.
Yeah, that's it.
So Edna was absolutely awesome in my head because the lady definitely had black hair in my head when I was reading the book. She was very short, but she could just boss people around. And she had glasses.
We're in different universes. But I kind of hear it because the voice in the audiobook sounds like a less comedic version of Edna, the costume designer from The Incredibles.
Okay, yeah. So, but
also, may I just, quick side note, The Incredibles comes up every day in regular conversation in my life. It is a movie I've seen, I think, twice. Once in theaters and then once later with my kids, paying attention. I had no idea that movie would cast such a long cultural shadow when I was watching it. But it just does. I mean, the theme song, the characters, the themes. Dude, the amount of times that I use the analogy when I'm trying to coach somebody through something that's just a little off, but it's right there. You're right. You're so close. Is the Mr. Incredible fighting the lava monster scene where his back goes out. And it's like, you could totally whip the lava monster, but you just have this one thing that's a little out of alignment. And then it pops back into alignment. And then he just pummels the lava monster. I'm constantly telling people, like, you're that close. Like, just, you got to clear this one hurdle and everything's going to click. You're that close. Incredibles, man. Who knew?
Have you seen a cut side by side of the Incredibles 2 moment? Okay, you know I did the hypoxic chamber at NASA.
Mm-hmm. And then they borrowed it from you?
Have you seen that?
No, is that out there on the internet?
Spoiler. So in Incredibles 2, there's a moment where they go hypoxic up at altitude in an airplane.
And your video was first, to be clear.
Yeah, way first. And then what I said, when I said, they said, hey, Destin, put your mask on or you're going to die.
I don't want to die.
Yeah, I just kind of winked and like looked at the guy and goes, I don't want to die. And in Incredibles 2, there's this
you didn't
moment.
Put the mask on. You did. No, you didn't want to die.
Dying would suck. I don't want to do that. I don't want to die. And sure enough, in Incredibles 2, when they go hypoxic, they do the exact same thing, which is fascinating. Also, I see hypoxia come up all the time. We're off topic, but I see hypoxia come up all the time. Instead of lethal injection, Alabama and Louisiana have now decided to do death by hypoxia. Are you aware of this?
No, I'd never heard that. I didn't know that.
And so when I Google myself every once in a while, I'm like, okay, what are people mad about me today? You know, what have I done now to make people mad? Every once in a while, there's a huge conversation about death by hypoxia, and it comes up, and I'm like, man, that makes me feel weird that I'm the example. That's strange. So I don't like that. Anyway.
They show it? Do they show you starting to go hypoxic as an example of how merciful this is? They're like, look at his big, dumb deer eyes. He has no idea what's happening to him. This is what'll happen to serial killers.
What's interesting is in my training at NASA, they're like, there's a whole list of symptoms people have for hypoxia. It could be air hunger. You could start convulsing. Like all these different things could happen. And I just happened to like get kind of chill and like, I don't want to die. I'm just kind of like, whatever. I can't do math really. And for some reason I'm winking at the flight surgeon lady through the window. I don't know why I'm doing that, but apparently I am. So anyway, that's what happened to me. But in this,
do you remember it?
I remember parts of it. I remember trying. Yeah, I do. I remember.
Are you sure? Or do you remember watching the video of yourself again and again in the editing process?
Okay, the flight surgeon was to my left, and her name was Nacho. That was her name. And I remember trying to communicate with her visually. Like I remember trying to look at her and being like, "Hey, this is weird." And they said I was winking. They said I was winking at her, but I was kind of squinting, like trying to like, when you're thinking really hard, you're like, what's going on? But they said it manifested as winking.
Oh, like you're letting her know everything's fine. I'm good.
And then I got super embarrassed because they said I was winking. I'm a super married man. I'm very happily married. And so I'm like, that's not what I want.
Okay, that part hadn't crossed my mind, but okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Not what I want to do. I remember them showing me some of the little things, like the little puzzles and stuff on paper, and I was trying to figure it out. I remember trying to put the little box, the little shapes in the box. I remember a lot of that.
Okay.
And I remember Susan sitting next to me, and I remember thinking, I really should flip those switches right there. I should put my mask on. I should flip those switches. That would be great. And I just didn't do it. But I remember thinking, man, I really should. Yeah, there were some parts of it I don't remember, of course. It was interesting. Tara does not like watching that video.
Yeah, she's mentioned that to me as well. That's, yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, you were half dead. I mean, that's what you look like when your brain is being deprived of oxygen to the point of fatality risk. Yeah, it's probably nobody's best look.
In the book, what was the guy's name? Duvois?
Duvois blew the thing up?
Yeah, he wanted to. Yeah, exactly. He wanted to die by hypoxia, and then the lady, which was AT&T lady, Van Trump,
girl, whatever her name is. Yeah, she's popular on the internet.
Yeah, she is. So she was. What was the character's name?
Did you just know her name? Did you say her name?
Yeah, Van Trub. I know her last name, and I know her first name starts with a M.
Yeah, I don't have it, but I have seen that last name around quite a bit.
Is she Ukrainian? Where's she from?
I don't know. My guess has always been Ukrainian. You looking that up right now?
I am. Milana Van Trub is an American actress. She's got a Russian name. She was born in Uzbekistan. In the Soviet Union. Interesting.
She did not. I thought she would feature more in the movie. She really didn't come up. I had to really tap Camilla to be like, that lady right there, it's the AT&T lady. Right, hang on, right there. She just wasn't on camera much. Neither was the other deceased member of the crew, whose name escapes me.
It was almost like a cameo, wasn't it?
That was more the play.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay, so you liked the book better because you liked that it got you into the things that just sent us on this rabbit trail. You like it when story and physics and science overlap. And I know you to really like listening to someone else reason through their problem solving. You enjoy that. You enjoy doing it. I enjoy listening to you do it. It's fun. That makes sense. I would flip it around the other way. I thought that was fun and I liked it, but it separated out the human parts too much for me in the movie. And maybe it's because I listened to it at X to get the book consumed fast enough for you and I only exaggerate slightly, but I do think I deprived myself here by listening to it at very high speed because it made the guy sound particularly internet guy who knows the things. I mean, it really
like Micro Machine guy.
It came off as very Spectrum-y, coupled with Micro Machine guy John Marishita, whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah,
and so Ryland Grace came off not great to me when he was in his own head in the audiobook because he spoke quickly. It made him come off as insecure and hasty and like he was trying to talk over me by talking fast. But in fairness, that isn't how it was recorded. I made the decision to listen to it so quickly and it reframed everything about the way he came off. Well, not everything, but too much. So I don't think I have a fair read on the book in that regard. But what do you do if you want to convert that to a movie? I mean, how would the movie have worked if you spelled out every science thing? If you gave us every detail in chapter 1 of him figuring out his environment and running every test and explaining the physics of it?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. There's a reason the movie was 2.5 hours long. And I remember thinking, oh, are they going to go on this little story rabbit trail? And they did. And I was like, wow, they went for it. That means we have to lose a lot of other stuff. But I thought it was great. I thought they did a really good job of staying true to the book with a couple of exceptions that I really liked, actually.
Note them. What are they?
First exception, Grace got to see the spaceship, got to see Rocky's ship.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
I loved it. And it reminded me of some of the scenes from that really not great old Robin Williams movie. Don't even remember. What Dreams May Come. I do remember it. That's the name of the movie. And they presented heaven or the afterlife as like this ever-changing, ebbing and flowing like watercolor or oil paint or something. And when he visited the afterlife, it was like he was in a painting. I mean, now that kind of stuff is dime a dozen because you can just do it in Dance and it costs you 50 cents in AI tokens or like whatever. Art is ruined. But it was pretty neat when you saw it back then. It was like the lone redeeming thing. It was very otherworldly. And I like the way they went in here. They went into the Rocky spaceship and it was harmonic. And it was like whoever designed that space mingled together the sonic side of Rocky's communication with the visible, like hints of the Roy G. Biv visible light wavelength from Ryland's side. So it was like I was seeing the whole ship a little bit through each of their empirical set of perceptions. And it was the most at any moment in the film where I felt like I was seeing things through both of their eyes at once.
Yeah. I thought man, we really are just going all over the place. Which
Who cares? I just want to talk about the movie.
I really thought the way you remember how Predator was, you could see through Predator's eyes. It was heat-seeking stuff. Yeah. I thought they did a wonderful job showing how Rocky saw things. I thought that was great. And specifically when Rocky made that device so that he could see what was on screens and stuff, I thought that was wonderful as well because I have made, I don't know how to describe it. So I worked with this guy one time. If you have a black and white image, you can say, okay, well, black is 1 unit tall and white is 0 units tall.
All right.
Any shade of gray in between there on the histogram, it is a different elevation. And so when we got to see Rocky's visual texture display, I remember thinking, oh man, I know how to do that with math. I've done that before.
I did not think that.
They clearly did this with Blender, and that's a gorgeous way of doing it. I don't know. I really enjoyed thinking about how the graphic designers did all these things. I mean, it was just stellar. It was amazing.
And I loved the way that bit communicated how hard these two were having to work to feel empathy for each other and to see the world the way the other one sees it. Now, the fate of the universe was at stake, but the movie and the book didn't totally make it feel like that. It felt like the moment where Faria, the old priest, finally tunnels through the rock in Chateau d'If in the early 1800s in the late Napoleonic age in The Count of Monte Cristo. And then Edmond Dantes, the eventual Count of Monte Cristo, and the old priest, Faria, for the first time, they connect. There's another being. And yeah, they've got a mutual problem. We need to get out of this accursed prison, but also another person with another set of dreams and ambitions, and a whole world exists in that other person's mind. And so much of the book, The Count of Monte Cristo, is just spent with an exchange of those two minds, learning empathy. They're so desperate for connection in a place that is designed to deprive them of that. And I love the way that, for as sciencey as this book is, Andy Weir had the good sense, and the people who made the movie had the good sense to keep that element. These are two people, and they're in the abyss of space, and there's another person, and crap. They don't talk the same way. They don't see the same way. It's going to take so much work to understand you and see the world from your perspective. Well, we're going to put the work into it. And just the amount of labor they invested to see the world through the other's eyes, I thought was very beautiful and very tender.
So connection was important to you.
Very important to me.
Yeah. Because there was a point of connection, literally, that bugged me the entire movie.
Oh, okay. All right. What do you got?
When their two spaceships docked.
Great segue, by the way.
Thank you.
So connection's important to you. Here's why it irritates me.
When their spaceships docked, the Hail Mary did not rotate about its center of mass. And that bugged me to no end.
Okay, walk me through it. Why does it have to? So I saw that, and I talked myself out of being troubled by it because I'm like, well, space. I mean, there's no resistance here. Whatever. I guess it just works. I've never tried it in space before.
I don't know, but while it was rotating, I was thinking, okay, the fact that these two spacecraft are parallel to each other and they're rotating. Ideally, they would be rotating about that central axis. And so we're going to have it's called the what axis theorem? Oh gosh, Destin, get this right. It starts with a Z. It's the tennis racket theorem. Multiple axis. What is
You're saying so many words right now, and I don't know how they fit together.
Okay, hold on, wait.
Z, tennis racket, axis, space.
I'm sorry, I got to get this right. Okay, tennis racket theorem, intermediate axis theorem. That's what it is.
Where's the Z in there?
Yeah, it's an effect called the Vladimir Dzyanbekov. That guy figured it out. He was an astronaut, or I guess a cosmonaut, and he rotated a handle, and he found that with the intermediate axis theorem, if something's rotating and it's not right, if the rotation axis isn't exactly in the middle of its rotation, the center of gravity, it'll rotate and then it'll flip over and it'll rotate and it'll flip back over. It'll rotate. You've seen this, Jeff. Have you seen it?
Who?
No. You have you seen this GIF on the internet?
Oh, I thought you called me Jeff.
No,
I was like, dude, I know we haven't talked as much lately because we've both been busy or whatever. But
yeah,
I mean,
no. So
he's like my best friend for a dozen years. It's Matt.
Yeah,
really.
Like I've got this Leatherman on my hip because I'm wearing pants, right?
Yeah.
So if I open this thing up, yes, and if I were to spin this like this right here, if I were to spin it for the third chair, I've got the pliers open. But it's not all the way unfolded. If I were to spin it, it would rotate like this, just like that.
Yes.
And then after so many turns, it would flip over and it would rotate like that. Have you never seen this?
There's a GIF of this?
Okay, never mind. Yeah.
I'm asking. What is the item that is rotating in this famous GIF?
The handle, intermediate.
So it's actually the experiment that this Russian cosmonaut ran.
Exactly.
Is the GIF. Okay. So it's like a handle, like a door handle or something?
It is. And our good friend Don Pettit, he's done it a lot on the space station as well. And so
why does it flip?
Math is the answer. It's a very complicated thing to explain. It hasn't been explained well. I know a guy that we'll talk offline, but just look at the video I just sent you.
All right.
The Dzyanbekov effect demonstration in microgravity. I'm pretty confident that video right there, I don't know. I think that's Don Pettit. It might not be Don Pettit.
Where did you send it?
I texted it to you.
Oh, I gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Watch that.
All right. Oh, so the guy's name starts with a D. It's a Dzhanibekov. Dzyanbekov. That's a mouthful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a symmetrical. What in the world? So I was picturing a handle like something asymmetrical is what I was picturing. But instead, what we have here is like, imagine a 4-inch cylinder. 4-inch cylinder of like 1-inch black pipe, right? And then sticking perfectly out of the middle of that is a shorter cylinder, say a 2-inch cylinder of like 1/2-inch black pipe. And just imagine they're welded together in a neat little junction there.
90 degrees, yeah.
At 90 degrees. Sorry about that.
They're kind of shaped like a T.
Yeah. It is very much like a T. So is this Don doing this?
I'm not sure if that video is Pettit or not.
Okay, so we're in space. We're in 0G. This thing gets flipped. It just gets spun like a top. It's just floating in space. And somehow, okay, hang on. I want to make sure I'm saying this right. Okay, here we go. So the main part, the 1-inch thick 4-inch black pipe, the larger part, continues to just spin end over end on the same axis, but the little 1/2-inch pipe that's sticking out, so it keeps flipping opposite directions, like just a 90-degree flip, and it goes too fast. I can't tell how the flip over is happening. I can't tell if that's happening on like a 45 or if it's just a clean rollover. It's baffling to me, and it makes no sense why that wouldn't just keep spinning the same way.
Yeah, that's all I want to talk about right now with respect to the intermediate axis theorem. I have a buddy that's doing a very cool thing with that, and
Okay.
we'll just see that.
Well, let's get back to the movie. So you're saying that should have happened to the Hail Mary?
I think the CG axis was not in line with their connector tunnel, and that would cause all kinds of weird things to happen. But in the movie, they just rotate perfectly. You could do that with station keeping thrusters and stuff like that. But
is that what they were doing?
I don't know. All I know is every time that scene came on screen, my brain just lit up on fire. And I was like, I need to solve this.
Okay. My brain did not do that.
Cool.
I completely accepted it. That seemed reasonable. Here's what my brain did. Okay, you got a big ship and you got a small ship. There is no accessible center of mass on the small ship because it wasn't made to dock with a big alien ship. And so at first I was like, oh, that's weird. I don't like those two spinning together. But then I thought, well, how would you plan for that? It's impossible. You'd put that access hatch wherever you put it. It was Rocky's decision, not Grace's, as to where that connection and how that connection would be manifest. So then my brain said, oh, it's probably fine. The bigger thing has more mass and it's spinning. And really, the Hail Mary is it's now just an extension of the much, much larger ship that Rocky has. So this is fine. Should it have broken up? Should both ships have been flipping? What should have happened there?
I don't know. So I felt the same way about the movie Interstellar. There's this really weird docking scene where like you gotta take manual control and I gotta rotate, and I just don't think it was possible. And so there's a lot of what's called proxops, proximity operations, when two spacecraft are next to each other. That is a very important part of spaceflight. And for me, you're in this orbital mechanics reference frame thing going on, but when you get really close to each other, you can actually maneuver relative to each other, because in the grand scheme of things, from an orbital mechanics perspective, these little pop thrusters I'm going to fire don't matter that much. And what really matters is me getting next to this other spacecraft. But what does matter is Newtonian physics, and that still matters. And so there's this really cool scene in the movie where I guess Ryland goes pop, pop, pop with the thrusters, pop, 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 and you can see the spacecraft, the Hail Mary, accelerate a little bit more, accelerate one more time, and you have a final velocity, and then the blip A mimics that. And I thought that scene was great. I was like, hey, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the relationship between these two spacecraft that really mattered to me. I think it was very interesting. Of course, obviously this is science fiction, but those are just things that I found to be very interesting.
Yeah, well, ignorance of that made the movie a better experience for me. So I'm at peace.
It's great. Well, like, what was your mental image of Rocky in the book versus what was on screen? How did you feel about that?
It was pretty close. I don't know, a rock with 5 legs and it's got little pinchers on each leg. Yeah, okay. What does that look like? Well, I guess kind of how they made it. I was content with that. The part about Rocky that I had maybe a little bit of an issue with from the book to the movie was in the book. I liked the way, as we discussed in our last conversation, I liked the way the pressures applied to both of these species caused them to know different things. They mastered different things. They had mastered different elements of physics, like, radiation just hadn't occurred to the rock people. Huh, interesting. Okay. And I like that was sort of the storytelling mechanism that kept them in balance. And so I believed in the book, these are two, on balance, equal but different intellects that are on screen all the time. Like Rocky's not smarter than Grace. Grace isn't smarter than Rocky, but they both represent a species who have figured out the things they needed to figure out to overcome the hurdles that were just naturally imparted to them to get into space. I mean, they've got a different moon equation. They've got a different, escape velocity equation than we do. They've got a different sustain life in space equation than we do. Cool. Well, it made them both smart at different things. Whereas one of the places where I saw a little bit of that Hollywood oversimplifying thing come through in the movie is Rocky felt a little too much like a mascot to me. And at times he did not, it felt like Grace was smarter than Rocky, and I didn't like that. I liked the balance in the book better.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. That's a great point. Yeah, it did feel like Grace was smarter. He was more of the hero, wasn't he? But where in the book, they were both equal heroes. They were both protagonists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In my head, Rocky was more of a crab. And the word carapace, which was used so often in the book, carapace meaning like the shell of a turtle, I had a very different anatomical layout of Rocky in my head, which that's fine. He had more spikes on him for whatever reason in my head. He was more spider-like. Yeah, I don't know. But I thought it was great. I was trying to figure out how they animated it. I couldn't figure it out.
I think it was practical effects.
I don't
think it was animated. I think they just made Rocky and puppeted him. I don't know that for sure.
Really?
That's what my eyes told me.
That's awesome. So in the book, the most irritating part for me was the spacewalk scene in the 1.5G. I mentioned that earlier.
Yep.
In the movie, it was one of my favorite scenes. I thought it was awesome. And I loved so many things about it. I loved hearing the Xenonite chain links shoot off like a Gatling gun. I loved seeing that as they were pulling the chain up when they were going fishing. That was so cool. I mean, we did get to hear it, even though it was in space, but who cares? And then the visual of the aurora, for whatever reason, Iridian, or wait, what was the name of it? Tau B? What was the name of the planet we did the spacewalk over? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. So, whatever the planet was, gorgeous. Like the fact that we had like basically a continuous aurora was amazing.
Mm-hmm. And a green. I love the fact that the aurora looked like poison because the thing that was there is poison. So, I mean, in all storytelling, whenever you have a substance going all the way back to the ancients, that if you consume it, it rots you from the inside and it's an invisible killer. If you can ever catch a glimpse of an invisible killer in storytelling, it's always green, including one of the greatest emotional invisible story or soul killers of all, jealousy. What color is jealousy?
Green, yeah.
With envy. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I thought you were going to say Slimer from Ghostbusters, or maybe even the Ooze and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Even there, even there, radioactivity, it's an invisible killer. I mean, Slimer, he sets off basically a Geiger counter. I mean, that's the idea. It isn't that. Anything that falls there, you got to make it green. And I really like that they made it green. So when you see the astrophagia in isolation, it's a little black dot, whatever. When you see it against the visible spectrum for the human eye, or under an infrared vision, it's red. But when you actually go see it in this environment and in the environment where you've got the killer of the killer mingling with it, it's green. That green aurora soup made a ton of sense to me.
I thought there were a couple of design choices they made for the spaceship, the Hail Mary, that were awesome. Like one of them was you had this long square corridor. I thought it was interesting that they put ropes across some of the bigger areas, because if you're in 0G, you could just kind of get stuck there. I was like, oh yeah, a rope makes a lot of sense there. I hadn't thought about that. But another thing I thought was brilliant was there's this one scene where Grace is coming down this corridor, and I look on the wall on the right, and there's ladder rungs, but they're 90 degrees out, and they're right in the middle. I'm like, oh wow. Yeah, because if the spaceship is oriented the other way, if you're in centrifuge mode, that needs to be a ladder. I thought that was really cool. I was like, what a great job, VFX person. Where did they make this? This wasn't Hollywood, was it?
I think it was.
Was it?
I don't know.
I hope so.
Okay, I have a question, though.
Yeah.
Back it up just a little bit. I hadn't thought about this before. If you were in 0G, in space, you could get stuck?
Yeah.
If you just couldn't reach anything? Could you blow? Could you fart?
Yeah. Chris Hadfield talks about this, the Canadian astronaut. He's had a conversation about this in the past. But yeah, Skylab was a large enough diameter where they could put an astronaut kind of out there in the middle and just leave him there. And you have to figure out how to like propel yourself. Yeah, absolutely. You can do it.
If you are in space and you get stuck and you've got other astronauts there and you cough to cover a fart, the cough and the fart would neutralize each other and everyone would know that you were disguising the fart with a cough because you don't go anywhere.
My dad used to tell a story about his sister trying to cover a fart with a cough at the dinner table.
What? Tell me.
He just tells a story about how she tried to do it, and he always, I can't do it, but he'd go, he'd always make it, and the kids would giggle with glee. It was great.
I do the cover the fart with a cough thing with my kids in public when there aren't really people around, but like we're in a big box store like Lowe's or something, and I know the aisle's empty. I don't want to freak other people out, but I'll mistime it intentionally. Dad!
My bad. Timing's a little off.
Sorry. I thought I had it.
That's awesome. Let's see. What else is... Oh, here's a question. There's two other things that I want to get your take on. I loved the fact that the movie, there were two unresolved things. One of them was going onto the ship. The other one was getting to see what Earth did with the Beatles.
Yeah. I appreciated that.
I really loved that Strat was on an icebreaker. I was like, why is she on an icebreaker? Oh, because Earth's cold. Oh. Loved it. And then I loved that all of Earth started working together. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And they started figuring it out. I was like, hey, that's great. We didn't actually get to see that they pulled it off, but we know that they're working together, Mm-hmm. Whereas it's different in the book. We got to see that they figured it out. And that's, I don't know. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I like that she was old. That took me a minute. I was like, man, this is really taking a toll on her. She looks old. Oh, wait, she's old.
Time dilation.
Yeah, she's just old.
The other thing that I thought was really interesting is, okay, they made these spacesuits. So Rocky made Grace a spacesuit so he could come on board, right? Just talk out loud mechanically about the suit he made. I just want to hear what you think about it.
It was just xenonite bubble wrap. I mean, I had trouble understanding how that would work. And obviously, I've only seen the movie once, and I was doing awe and wonder. And I'm sitting there with my kids and my wife and my buddies, Austin and Meg were sitting next to me, and we were having a moment, dude. So I'm gonna answer your question, but there are a lot of details that I'll catch on my next viewing. But I was just sitting there as this was happening going, I'm watching an all-time great.
Oh, yeah.
This matters. Don't think about the podcast. Don't wonder what Destin would think of this scene. I need to just drink this in. And I could kind of look over and I would see the light of the silver screen on my kids' faces. And all three of them were just, locked in, big eyes, super interest. That was really cool. So there are details that I missed because I was having a very, very human moment with the whole thing, and the theater was packed and everybody knew they were seeing something good. And that's special. I haven't experienced that. I mean,
since Hot Tub Time Machine?
Obviously Hot Tub Time Machine. The sequence where Billy Zabka of Cobra Kai fame is talking about John Elway and the drive against the Cleveland Browns is one of the most important cinematic sequences in my entire life. No. How many times have I felt what I felt at this moment in the film? And I've not forgotten about the spacesuit. Top Gun Maverick, coming back from COVID, the theater was packed. Nobody was masked up. Like we were just kind of past it. And that was pretty cool. There were people in the room who I knew attacked COVID one way, people who attacked it another way. But we just watched a movie where America fought a non-existent, nameless, flagless enemy. And it
happens to have F-14 Tomcats, which means it was Iran.
Could have been. We're trying to have a nice time here. Could have been anybody.
Could have been anybody with
They had their visors down.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That one was pretty cool. A better moment was the next one before that, which was Captain America summons Mjolnir and fights Thanos. Oh my goodness, dude. I was there on opening night and Mjolnir's sitting there and it starts kind of rocking back and forth. And you're like, oh, Thor's getting, what's happening here? And it smacks into Captain America's hand. And you're like, oh my goodness. And the theater erupted, dude. It was before COVID. It was like just a time of horrible division on the internet, and the room went nuts. It was amazing. Before that, the snap, I saw that in Israel. I saw that in Nazareth at a mall, and my son absolutely collapsed emotionally to a level he never has before or since.
What?
And when Spider-Man went away and Tony Stark is holding him, oh my goodness, my poor little boy just collapsed. I secretly filmed the whole thing, walking out of the theater, sneakily holding my cell phone down at hip height, pointed right at him as we're going down the escalator there in Nazareth. And he's just sobbing, but I wanted to preserve it. So maybe I'll share that video with you someday. And then you go back before that, man, maybe one of the moments in Lord of the Rings. The first time I saw a dinosaur on screen in Jurassic Park. I mean, dude, to me, this moment with this crowd at this moment in history was top 5, top 10 all time in theater with a bunch of strangers moments I've ever had. So I was in complete wonder during the walk through the Blip A scene, watching the kind of rainbow light play on my kids' faces and just kind of thinking about them being at the end of the age of childhood wonder. I wanted to soak it in, so I missed some of it because I was looking over straight at them. That said, it looked big and it looked clunky, and I don't know how they got him oxygen in the suit. So those were the things I wondered about in passing.
Yeah, so you realize you just spoiled like 4 movies. Obviously.
Dude.
I just wanted to reiterate that I think you're the spoiler. You are the one that spoils things.
Okay, well, let me spoil another one. America wins the Cold War. Yeah, I'm going to spoil another one. Gandhi died. You'll be missed.
With you.
You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. So I recognize that I'm just messing with you. But the suit. Yeah, I'm messing with you. Xenonite or the planes, like the window panes. It looks like stained glass. So in my head, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, well, Xenonite are the planes. That means there's another material in between the planes.
It was hexagonal, triangular. What did it look like?
Yeah, it looks like triangular, tetrahedral, whatever.
Okay.
And so I was sitting there thinking, that means there's another material that's holding the Xenonite together, or maybe it's a different form of Xenonite.
That was my guess.
So I was thinking about that. So you just came off this beautiful monologue about the importance of story and moments in movies. And then here I am, the stodgy old engineer hung up on, well, actually, the physics isn't quite right. Does that mean there's something wrong with me?
Of course it does. Yes. I mean, 100% yes. You're just so badly damaged. No, we just see different stuff, right? So you just gave me a gift, and now I can't wait to go see it again, because obviously you've got the Hail Mary theme running through all of it. The theme of the story of historic redemption, I felt like, was very evident in the book and very evident in different ways in the movie. I love forgiveness. I love redemption stories. It's my favorite stuff. I love people can change stories. Brother, we have got to continue to believe people can change. If people can't change, you're screwed. I'm screwed. The world is screwed. Nothing will ever heal. People can change. People can understand each other better. People can be one thing once and do one thing once, learn from it, and be something different later. Redemption is real. Atonement is real. People can change. I can change. I'm still gonna. I loved that final flashback to, oh crap, this guy really was. He was a coward. I mean, he was willing to debase himself in front of everyone to try to run away from this responsibility. He had no reason to say no, and he still said no. The reluctant prophet, Jonah fleeing from Nineveh, Esther saying, I know I'm the queen, but I'm not going to save the people from wicked Haman, and Mordecai being like, well, don't think you or your family will be spared when this all goes down. And all of a sudden, these characters grow a conscience. Do we hold it against them that they got it wrong at first and they responded in a way we might too? Or do we celebrate the redemption? People can change, people can change, people can change. I loved how thick they slathered on this dude was a coward and how close in proximity that happens to the scene that, now that you describe it, is a cathedral scene. The blip A is a cathedral. I'm describing chords and rainbows. I'm the humanities Bible guy, and then you go and watch it and come back and you're like, well, it was like stained glass. Yes, you're so right. How did I miss that? I was probably staring lovingly at my kids too much. I'm an idiot.
Moron. That's what it felt like to me.
Right.
Seeing the glass flash or the light flash through the xenonite felt like looking at stained glass to me.
Yes.
Gorgeous. And what did you think about, ramping up the Jesuses per minute here, the JPMs? What did you think about the fact in the movie they made Strat the believer and not the guy that designed the Beatles? What did you think of that?
Who was the guy who designed the Beatles?
That was the Canadian guy in the book. I forget his name, but
yeah, and that's why they didn't have him be that guy in the.
He wasn't. Yeah, he didn't exist in the movie. But I thought it was interesting to have the cold, callous, logical. We got to get this done. I only do the thing that makes sense. I thought it was interesting to have that character in the movie be the believer.
And of course, the way she would arrive at belief is Pascalian, right? I mean, it's
Pascal's
wager calculation that she's running there. Some people crap on Pascal's wager. I think it's fair. I don't think everybody's belief is built the same way. And I think one of the weaknesses of Christianity is that it went out into the internet in the age of the internet and tried to act like everyone's faith build should be identical. Everyone should be this kind of therapy-minded, doe-eyed, eyebrows up in the middle. I like to raise my hands and sing these songs and really, 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 really feel my belief. Okay, that's cool. I said it really mean right there. I shouldn't have said it that way. That's too harsh. Some people have a gift of faith. They just have eyes to see things. I don't. But I feel outside looking in terms of how Christianity in the age of the internet has idealized faith, because I am not any of that. I do not feel the stuff when we sing the songs hardly ever. When I do feel stuff, it's because it's the most profound philosophical, theological lyrics, and I'm in awe of the complexity and order of it all. Then I will feel stuff. Logic first, emotion second. Okay, I was too mean in what I just said. Other people are wired different. They come at it different. That's fine. But I don't like the way people who come at it like I do have kind of been alienated from the thing. There is a template of faith that is like Strats. Like, I would love to have eyes to see, like my faithful grandparents who just see it. I don't. I get they're different, man. And I've been through the ups and downs of the thing. But I'm still here and I'm still in because, yes, it emotionally makes sense. It exceptionally story-wise makes sense to me. But it rationally makes sense to me. God, I don't understand the depths of God, but God makes sense to me. And the fact that there's something instead of nothing points me right back to God every single time. So in that moment, when she gave that concise articulation of her faith, like beats the alternative, man, I felt camaraderie there. I loved the remark.
I thought it was good. I had a conversation recently at an event in DC with a PhD geneticist who studied at Oxford. And we were both kind of at this thing, kind of mingling, not really in a room we were comfortable in, meaning we didn't know a lot of people. And I could tell across the room, my radar went off. I was like, all right, that guy doesn't know who to talk to, but he's not doing like a lot of these people in the room and he's trying to check something on his phone. Like, he's eyes up, he's participating in the room, but he doesn't have anybody to talk to. I'm going to fix that right now. So I walked over to him. I was like, hey man, hand out. I'm Destin. What's your name? Says his name. What's your deal? And we just had a conversation.
You literally ask him that question?
Pretty much, yeah. I do things like, what's up with you? I don't know, something like that. I mean, just he's making eye contact. He's participating. I'm participating just with body language. We started talking and he's like, oh, well, I work. And he says, extremely reputable genetics place. Like, incredible. Like National Institute of Health, NIH. Yeah, working on blah, blah, blah. And he starts talking about stuff. And I was like, holy moly. Like, this is deep stuff. And so we have these conversations. And the thing that I was at, there's a lot of faith type people in the room. I was like, cool. We told him a little bit about who I was, what I did. We kind of did the thing. I said, well, where are you at on all this faith stuff? And he looks at me. And he gave me a very concise, it's not mine to share, but a very concise discussion. I was like, this is amazing. Like, he just told me that, his eyes filled with tears. And I'm like, this is one of the smartest people I've ever met. Also, this is one of the smartest people I've ever met because he's not scared to just tell me the thing. I was like, man, that is amazing. And we just had this beautiful conversation that I will remember for a very, very long time. And it was completely from a position of logic and reason and getting back to the things that you were talking about earlier. So, people can change.
Yeah.
Things can change. It was awesome.
But also a degree of the spiritual. And I'm not going to spoil that story, though I am the spoiler. What you just told me is you characterized it rightly, but also there's a very real element to the spiritual there in his story. It's just kind of an order of operations. It sounds like he's wired like me. And like I said about singing the songs, man, there are certain theological truths, certain things that resonate so cleanly and purely, like a perfectly struck note, perfectly in tune, that just resonates with reason and the order of things and the patterns that you see in things. And when that happens in the context of the divine or scripture or art inspired by that, that takes my mind to, I guess, what you would call very transcendent, very worshipful places. And so I will find myself moved at very strange times by very strange things. And my eyes will glass up and I will have these weird little encounters with God and the eternal in unexpected places because my wiring is different. And it sounds like this person you were talking to might be wired the same way.
So you had one of those moments watching this movie?
Yes, I did. But
really?
It has just been accentuated by you pointing out that Blip A is a cathedral. You know I love cathedrals. You know I love churches. Like the buildings. I love them so much that I allowed my YouTube channel that was doing perfectly fine, talking about like Bible stuff and everything, to get just taken over by videos of me going and looking with wonder at churches that people long dead built and left behind for us. I think it's an intersection of the temporal and the divine. And I appreciate the movie all the more because you are right. You are right. You are right. You are right. It's not an opinion. You are reading that imagery. You're interpreting this text correctly. That ship is a cathedral, but it's the wrong person's ship to be a cathedral. The cathedral should be the guy from Earth, right? Like I should be the one who has the cathedral. My people should be represented by that. But the order and truth of the whole thing, the people who made the movie chose to communicate it through the alien ship. Fascinating. Beautiful. Yes, it was a worshipful experience to me to watch this movie, really to think about that theme of the reluctant prophet and the coward who changes and becomes something different. That was powerful to me. Watching my kids savor it was powerful to me. And your interpretation has added to it all the more. So yeah, to say I like this movie would be an understatement. It was an important experience for me. How would you characterize it for you?
It's great. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I was talking about emotion. I was extremely impressed that Ryan Gosling was able to make himself cry on screen 3 times, 4 times, however many times it was in the movie. I was thinking to myself, how do you do that? Like, how do you do that? But he was good at it.
Dude, let's just do it.
Yeah, right now. You want to do it?
Do it. Come on. You can make yourself cry. Come on, Sandlin.
I don't want to.
Come on. Okay. I don't think I can do it either.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did that.
It's weird. This got weird in a hurry. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was.
But but in that moment for me, I wasn't like, wow, he made himself cry. I just believed he was crying. It was a pretty great performance.
Yeah, the suspension of disbelief is. I need to get better at that. I think I need to allow myself to be immersed in the story more. I think that is something I could do better at.
I'd like to push back on that. I think you're really good at it. I think of the two of us, I'm the one who's more likely to be put off. Oh no! Wow! Friendship breakthrough right now. Announcement.
What?
Hey, we've had a lot of conversations about stories over the years, and we do not think the same way about them.
Oh.
The way I talk about them at times grates on you, and maybe the same as I don't know that it grates on me, but
yeah, I don't know that grates on me. But go ahead.
We think about them differently.
I just don't like that you spoil them. Go ahead.
That's fair. I don't like how what you consider to be spoilers when things aren't spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was really good. I think you'll like it. Quit ruining it, Whitman. Okay. I don't think anything about it. I'm not telling you how to feel about the thing. Watch it or don't. I don't know what to do. For you, what seems to take you out of a movie is physics. That can do it. Your area of expertise can cause you to stop thinking about the people on the screen and stop listening as deeply as you're capable of, and as you often do, to be taken out of it. What takes me out of a movie? Themes that clash and aren't well developed take me out of a movie. Characters doing things that just simply don't make sense with how you've established the character. That's not how people act. I know people. That's not what they do under that kind of pressure. That's not right. Or story structure breakdowns. Wait a minute. You can't do that now. You needed to do that back there. You can't do that. And when I bring up my frustrations like that, I can tell you're like, come on, man. Like, just enjoy the story. You've told me that before.
Interesting.
Also, here you are talking about, I never came out of this movie. I was in the whole time, save maybe that one moment of being like, oh, they're going to spin together. Okay, I accept that. It's space. I've never been there. Whereas, you've described a handful of moments where you were like, oh, wow, how does that work? What's going on there? So what I'm seeing, the friendship breakthrough here is, no, we can both get taken out of the stories that we love. It's just our areas of expertise, if we have that. It's the areas we think about a lot that shock us out of the story for a minute. So you stay in stories I get taken out of, and I stay in stories you get taken out of sometimes. Interesting.
But it's interesting. Well, visually, I'm just trying to I'm thinking about, we're about to wrap this up, I'm assuming. I'm just trying to think of anything else I could think of that I want to. Okay, here's one of the things. When they fired the rocket drive, the whatever it's called, the rotary drive, is that what it's called? Spin drive, thank you. When they fired the spin drive, when they were close to that Tau Ceti planet, I loved the fact that you saw that shock wave happen at some distance from the spacecraft. That was gorgeous. I've seen things like that in the past. I was like, yes, that is how molecules would interact. That's awesome. I love that. What else did you like? What other things?
I liked thinking about what would be going on in Ryland Grace's mind when he is seeing an alien planet up close for the first time in human history with his own eyes. And he can't look at the terrain. He can't look at the beautiful mountain ranges. He can't make any observations. He's just got to get that bucket down there to get that stuff and not die. How wild would that be to play that back in your brain if you're Grace for the rest of your life and be like, I was on an alien planet that no human eyes are going to see again, maybe ever. And I didn't even look because I had to just get the bucket and not die. No observations, no notation, just in and out. Crazy.
Yeah, I could believe that too. I'm sure you've done it. You've done some really awesome things, but you're like, okay, this is awesome, but I have a task and I have to focus. Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
That was cool. I love the bucket. I love the bucket that came down and Rocky did whatever he did to make the things pop out. I was like, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Whoever designed that prop is awesome.
Yeah, and they showed us how it would collect, because as he dropped it down, I was like, I don't understand how that would get the sample. But then they pinch zoomed in on it and gave me a really good look. And without explaining it with a bunch of dumb techno babble and then having a dumber character be like, wait, so you're telling me we got to throw this little soccer ball thing down there and it'll send out little spiky units and grab the thing? Yeah, that's right, basically. Instead of that kind of stilted, awful dialogue, they trusted us as viewers to be competent. They showed us, like, if you care, this is how it worked. If you don't, we'll be done with this shot in 2 seconds. You're fine. Love that. Felt very respected as an audience member.
I wanted the merch, man. I wanted the hat. I wanted the shirt with the cool rainbow logo on it. I was like, man, that's cool. That's really cool.
There were a few shirts he wore in there that I thought, excuse me, I need to go buy that. But everybody's going to go buy that. And now I can't remember what the shirts were, but I'll note it. I'll note it next time around.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt, there's going to be merch. I thought it was great. So,
okay, performances. Out of 10 performances, what would you give it?
10. I loved it.
I agree. Yeah. Just great.
I even like Carl, the security guard guy.
He was awesome.
He was great. Obviously, I need to know what he's thinking right now. So why not explain it to Carl? That's great. Thanks, Carl.
Loved it.
That was good.
Yep. Great. The addition of Carl was a great storytelling mechanism. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Cinematography. What'd you think of the look of the movie?
Fantastic. There was a lot of blinking. I thought one thing, science-wise, they got really right is when they were in rotisserie mode. I call rotating spaceships like that rotisserie mode. When they were in rotisserie mode, I was like, wow, how did they even do the lighting? Clearly they had a, LED bar rotating around the ship or whatever, but I was like, this is great. Of course that would be annoying. That's awesome.
Yeah, I loved that. I noted it too. Loved it.
That was fantastic. I loved the little room that they could go in. I'm sorry, you're listing off and we're rating things, but I love the room that he could go in and think about Earth. Of course, there would be some kind of health and wellness place where you go to not lose your mind on a multi-year mission,
Yeah, and I chose to believe that the lights in there were UV. It simulated exposure to sunlight, engage the vitamin D, stuff like that.
Cool.
Maybe that's not the case, but I chose to believe it.
Yeah, why not? That's cool. All right.
What about the score? Did you notice the score at any point?
I was thinking the only thing that rivals this is Guardians of the Galaxy, and this is better. Yeah. I thought it was fantastic. I assumed it was original. It was playful and like boppy at times, and it was just all over the place. But we call it the toy shop. So Smarter Every Day, there's a couple of videos that we've done where it's not like a build montage, but there's like a moment where you have to do a really complicated thing. And there's this one video where Gordon McGladdery, who makes music for Smarter Every Day, his music thing is called A Shell in the Pit. He's got this one track. I forget the name of it, but we call it the toy shop. And it's the tinkering, like I'm building a thing.
I know the music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was in the Vortex Collision video. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, they've got
sounds like ingenuity to me. I really like that track. Gordon nailed it.
Yes, that is the track. So they had that vibe. I thought it was great. And I was like, people made this music. I love it.
Yeah, people made this music. And how do you make music that makes me as a viewer sitting there doing nothing feel like I'm part of solving the problem? Like I'm there. I'm at the writer's table. I'm a part of this thing. The music did that for me. It made me feel like I was helping, which is ridiculous, but great writing. Whereas normally what you get with space stuff is lame pads, forgettable. It's so boring. It makes space feel otherly and not human. And this music made the whole thing feel like it was relationships and problem solving, not just about the expanse of space. I really liked that.
Oh, okay. So there is a soundtrack, and it has really cool names in it, like Canister Catch, Centrifuge, Rocky Sacrifice, Gravitational Aftermath, Tau Amoeba. What awesome track names.
Also, don't read the track names before you've seen the film, or it will ruin everything.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did I spoil things? Am I the spoiler now?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Something for you to think about.
I thought it was fantastic.
Well, you got to believe people can change and grow. That's really neat. Yeah, what did you think about the runtime? Were you good for the whole thing? I know you were very sensitive for feeling like something you're ahead of the media you're consuming. That bothers you a lot. Were you good with it?
Yeah, it was as long as it needed to be. However, I was very tired, so I took coffee into the theater, and I also got a Coke, and I had to pee twice. And I was like, what am I, an old man? Oh, wait, I'm an old man.
That's probably why.
Yeah, did you have to pee during the movie?
I wonder what'll happen during this 2.5-hour movie if I consume 2 diuretics simultaneously. That mingled with my failing prostate are yielding multiple urinal trips.
That makes perfect sense.
So you didn't pee during the movie?
Heck yeah, I peed during the movie. I got a giant Mountain Dew. I'm having one of those a month.
Are you?
I'm going down to 0, dude. That's the last Mountain Dew I think I'll ever drink. Like when I was in college, I had Mountain Dew all the time. It's just delicious. Didn't think anything about it. And then I've just gradually tapered because it makes me feel bad. I had a Mountain Dew in that movie, and just my whole body was inflamed and furious with me by the time it was over, and a bathroom trip in the middle. Come on, what are we doing, Whitman?
Had I not read the book, I would have felt really, really bad about my bathroom breaks. But I was like, oh, wait, no, this is just the scene where they're just going to make chain for like 4 days. I'm good. I'm going to go pee right now.
Dude. Okay, I'm going to tell you about the bathroom break. The theater was packed. We were late. My friend saved me a seat. We sprinted in there and had to, so sorry, squeeze in to the very middle of this very full row. And there's this historic theater in downtown Rapid City. It's really cool. It's called the Elks Theater. It's beautiful. They're very involved in the community. Like, downtown Rapid has all the president sculptures. And for the longest time, there was just something in the front of the theater under a black cloth. And finally, I was like, I got to see what it is. I went up and peeked, and it's the Trump sculpture. They had it hiding in there for a while. So it's just a fun theater. They just do quirky things or whatever. And the bathrooms are not conveniently located. It's in a very tall building, not a very wide building. So I waited for the guy on the end who I was like, I bet your prostate's horrible. I'll wait until you got to go to the bathroom. And when he got up and went, I was like, now's my chance. I'll inconvenience everyone at the same time. So I sneaked out, and it's like 25 stairs that you have to go down to get to the bathroom at this theater. And I did like the guy who's training at Red Rocks or in the stadium.
I did the same thing, but I didn't actually pick my feet up. It was more like a speed walking thing.
Yeah, through your speed.
But I did hike my hands up and down like you did. Yeah,
I hiked them, and then when I got back, I was a little bit sweaty. Camilla was like, "Honey, are you okay?" Yeah, it's just prostate. Don't worry about it. Worked out in the end, dude. I'm glad you liked the movie.
It was great, dude.
Thanks for taking time to talk with me about it.
Best moment in the movie for you?
The goodbye that they thought would be the forever goodbye. I really like that.
Oh, interesting.
Very sincere. What do you do? I mean, Rocky's not a dude or a lady. Rocky's a rock, a sentient rock. But they palled around like dudes. So to me, it felt like a story of masculine friendship. How do you say goodbye when you're a man to a man in your life who you value, who you know you're never going to see again? What do you do?
I was thinking about that too. You realize we're going to do that one day. Lord willing, we actually get to say goodbye. You realize that will happen.
Yeah, I've thought about that.
Yeah, what do you do?
What do you do? So I liked that it was kind of like, I don't know, you make this like a weird Caribbean like rhythm instrument sound
on your hand. I'm not going to do that to you when we say goodbye for the last time.
No, I'd like to come up with, let's maybe use words if we have the capacity at that point.
I have a friend.
I just like that they didn't know what to do. I like that Grace kept turning around like, well, I better check my keys. Okay. Well, I probably had better get into space. Better get going.
I have a friend who she's incredible. She's awesome. And a family friend of ours and good friend of Tara's. And we had a conversation probably 15 years ago. And she said, nope, I'm not like that. I'm not one for long goodbyes. If it's time for somebody to say goodbye, I just say goodbye. And that's, I'm okay with that. And I've thought about that so many times. Like, we're talking about like someone's exiting your life. Like, okay, we're moving to another state. Goodbye. And I thought about the person that said this, and I thought about that, and I was like, that's emotionally inconsistent for who I know this person to be. Like that, I don't think that's right. I just don't think.
What's your opinion? Why did she do that?
I don't know, but they're still in our life, and I have since been in a situation where she gets to say goodbye if she wants to, and she's not, because I don't know. It's just a really difficult thing, because I've seen her in situations where I would expect her to do that, and she didn't. She's keeping in touch, and she's being thoughtful, and she's keeping the connection. It's just really interesting. And so it makes me think about moments. You see this a lot in classrooms. I'm at school. I'm done with the classwork, but for a while I was in classes, and I have a really hard time saying goodbye. Sometimes I will reach out to a person I knew from a class 5 years ago, and I'll say, I thought about you today. How are you doing? Do you do this?
Mm-hmm. I called a mutual friend today for that reason.
Yeah. It's interesting. I have a hard time saying goodbye. Once I feel a connection, I stick with it. And so, I mean, assuming the person, it was a good experience,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. The interesting thing about this goodbye is that light is going to limit the ability to communicate. And it's just a really interesting thing. Have you ever said goodbye to? I have, to dying relatives and people like that. How do you say goodbye?
I know I've told you this story before, but saying goodbye to both of my grandparents on my mom's side, who are from here in the Black Hills in Rapid City, western South Dakota. My grandpa was a marksmanship instructor on the Air Force Base here, and before they understood that lead is an issue. He got plumbism, and it just tore him up for his entire post-military life, right? He was super sensitive to like smells or any kind of chemicals or anything. His body just couldn't process it. And, eventually his health just wore down. And so I drove out with a buddy on very short notice and went to my grandpa's place just out here. And he was laying on the couch and looked so weak, but he sat up. Oh, Matthew. And man, he just told me everything that he hadn't said that he wanted to pass along. He did it, but without making it feel desperate. It was pretty cool. And I stayed as long as I possibly could. I mean, I had to go home. I had to drive back to where we lived in Nebraska. And we got a ways down the road. And I'm just sobbing on that dusty road heading back toward Rapid City. And I was like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Did a 3-point turn and just went back and came in the door. I'm not ready.
That's good.
I'm not ready. We just sat and he told me more things and he understood. We just sat. I don't know. So I said goodbye to my grandpa twice like that and still don't think I was ready, and then with grandma, everybody was at her bed when she passed and she wasn't, she was really losing touch with things in those moments. It was really toward the end, but she recognized me and reached out and took both my hands together and she said, Matthew, you're here, Matthew. Looked at me and like mustered eye contact and confidence and like was really making it clear to me, I know what I'm saying. God bless you, Matthew. That was the last thing my grandma ever said to me. So those are pretty goodbyes, right?
Those are good.
I don't know what to do. Nobody knows how to say permanent goodbye, but I have those two. It's pretty cool.
Say that one more time. I talked over you there.
No, it's all right. I mean, nobody knows how to script a goodbye, but I have those two, and that's pretty cool. My last words to my little brother before he died in that accident were, love you, buddy. That was it.
Great.
I hugged him goodbye in a parking lot and messed up his hair and shoved him into the car. Like, I'm the big brother. That's what I'm supposed to do. And he laughed. And if he were the kind of kid that would give me the finger, he would have given me the finger. Like, it was perfect. Perfect goodbye with my brother.
That is a perfect goodbye.
Mm-hmm. So obviously the goodbye thing, you asked me what was my favorite scene. That one really stood out to me. What was your favorite scene?
I liked the scene where they received the thing that they would need to fix the planet. And there was just a little smirk on her face. And it's like, okay, it worked. Also, like, it's like deep and meaningful. And then it cuts to the shot of the stuff from the Beatles and it's in a peanut butter jar. I thought that was pretty clever. It's like, okay, that's good. That's good writing. But in terms of visuals, I thought going down, it was my least favorite part of the book, which was the spacewalk over the planet. It was probably my most favorite part in the movie theater. I was like, man, this is just gorgeous. Everything about this is beautiful. And so I remember thinking, okay, I was wrong. I just didn't understand how he wrote it. And so I thought it was the movie did the book justice. It was great. Yeah,
that scene and the contrast between his cowardice in his final day on Earth and his courage in his first day on that other planet. Yeah, it was pretty stirring for me too. This is fun, man. Stories, we have plenty to talk about, but it's kind of fun to just process a story that has nothing to do with either of us. Doesn't involve anybody in our circle, doesn't involve stuff going on for better or for worse with our jobs or anything. It's just a story for the sake of a story to communicate beauty and meaningful, transcendent human stuff and maybe even bigger than human stuff. It's just, you're one of my favorite people to talk with about things like this. Thank you.
Igualmente. Yes. I enjoy your angle on all this stuff as well because it's very different than what I get out of my mind. So thank you for processing it with me.
Same. Yeah. Great idea. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you.